Today, I'm going to share with you the top 5 mistakes I made when I started 3D printing, and more importantly, how you can avoid them. So let's get into it. My number one mistake is ignoring bed cleaning and re leveling once in a while. I had to learn this the hard way. You need to re level the bed once in a while, even if you haven't changed anything, as things move around. A CR Touch might help, which, by the way, I do have a full video showing you how to install that if you're interested. The bed level need to be at a paper thin from the nozzle, too low and you can scratch the bed like I did with my glass bed. Too high and you can end up with a spaghetti noodles that you can't even eat. Cleaning the bed using soap and water is also needed as dirt and oil build up, causing your first layer to fail. Speaking of failing, leaving filament out is my number two mistake and it's a huge failure. I did not realize how much moisture can impact and affect filaments. Filaments like PLA and especially nylon absorb moisture from the air, and that can reduce the quality and impact your print. This can lead to a brittle filament, poor print quality, and nozzle clogs. Always store filament in a dry, sealed container when they're not being used. My number three mistake is removing the micro SD card if you have saved settings on it. This one is easy, but I have made that mistake before. If you have modified stored settings, maybe you adjusted the E steps or the Z offset for your CR Touch. Some printers, like the Ender 3, will save these settings on the micro SD card. So removing that will reverse your settings to the default. Speaking of default, monitoring the first layer should be default, which is my number four mistake. Pressing print and going to bed might sound like a good idea, but spending that extra 5 minutes just to watch that first layer is worth it, in my opinion, especially if you don't have a very well tuned printer. Watching that first layer is important since most errors occur there, and having that nice first layer is critical to having a good print. And in case anything fails, you can catch it early, saving time and material. Now, as printers are improving and getting better, this one is becoming less of an issue. So, if you have a very well tuned printer, that might give you the freedom to skip this part. The number five mistake I've made is using incorrect print settings and missing out on firmware upgrade. I can't tell you how many prints failed because I did not pay attention to the settings in my slicing software. Each material has its own optimal temperature, speed, and other settings. Make sure to check the recommended settings for your filament and tweak them if necessary. It might take a few tries, but it's worth it for that perfect print. Also, don't forget to check for firmware upgrades. Believe me, they will improve your print experience and your experience in general with your 3D printer. These were some of the mistakes I've made early on. If you find it helpful, please consider like and subscribe, and don't forget to let me know what mistakes you've made in the comments below. Thank you for watching and I hope to see you in the next one.